What if I told you that once upon a time, Nigeria had a telecom giant so powerful that owning just one of its landlines made you feel like royalty? A company so dominant, it was supposed to connect an entire nation. Yet today, it's barely a memory. This is the story of NITEL, the rise, the fall, and the lessons from Nigeria's forgotten telecom empire. Let's rewind to the 1980s and 1990s. Back then, communication in Nigeria wasn't as simple as pulling out your smartphone. No WhatsApp, no instant calls. If you wanted to talk to someone far away, you either sent a letter or you prayed that your neighborhood had a landline. And who controlled those landlines? NITEL, short for Nigerian Telecommunications Limited, was the country's state-owned telecom company. It was formed in 1985 after the merger of two government agencies, the Post and Telecommunications Department, P&T, and Nigerian External Communications, NET. Think of NITEL like the sole gatekeeper of voices. If Nigeria's 80 million people wanted to speak across cities, borders, or continents, their words passed through NITEL's wires, towers, and switchboards. And here's the wild part. Having a NITEL landline in your home was like owning a luxury car today. Not everyone could get one. It could take years just to be approved. But once you did, oh, you were somebody. Businesses relied on NITEL to run. Banks needed their lines. Government offices couldn't function without them. For a while, NITEL wasn't just a company. It was the heartbeat of Nigeria's communication. It looked unstoppable. But every giant has a weakness, and NITEL's cracks started to show. Imagine a crumbling building. From the outside, it still looks tall and mighty. But inside, the beams are weak, the roof leaks, and the foundation is shaky. That was NITEL. First problem? Bureaucracy. Because NITEL was government-owned, decisions moved at the speed of a snail. Want a new line installed? Endless paperwork. Need repairs? You might wait weeks or months. Second problem? Corruption. Stories spread of workers demanding bribes just to install a line faster. Ordinary people were frustrated, and in a country that was hungry for progress, patience was running thin. Third problem? Technology. The world was moving fast. The 1990s brought mobile phones, satellites, and internet connectivity. But NITEL was slow to adapt. While other countries were building digital networks, Nigeria was stuck with a clunky, outdated system. By the late 1990s, Nigeria had about 400,000 working phone lines for a population of over 100 million. That's like having one phone line for an entire city the size of Ibadan. Can you imagine the frustration? People waiting hours in queues just to make a call at NITEL offices. Businesses losing deals because lines didn't work. And families cut off because communication was almost impossible. The giant was wobbling. Then came the knockout punch. In 2001, Nigeria opened its telecom sector to private companies. Enter the new players, MTN, Econet, now Airtel, and Globacom. They came in like hungry lions. They offered something Nigerians had only dreamed of: mobile phones. At first, SIM cards were insanely expensive. Some sold for over 20,000 naira, but even then, people rushed to buy them. Why? Because unlike NITEL, mobile phones actually worked. You could make a call instantly, no waiting, no bribing, no broken lines. It was like a boxing match where the champion enters the ring already tired, while the challengers are young, fast, and ruthless. Within just a few years, NITEL was on the ropes. By 2004, MTN alone had more subscribers than NITEL had managed in its entire existence. NITEL tried to fight back. There were attempts to privatize it, to restructure, to bring in foreign investors. At one point, a company called Transcorp took over, but it was too little, too late. NITEL's infrastructure was outdated, its customer trust was gone, and its competitors were growing like wildfire. The once proud giant collapsed. By 2007, NITEL was basically dead, with only a tiny fraction of Nigeria's market share left. Offices were abandoned, phone booths rusted away. Its name, once feared and respected, became a sad reminder of lost potential. So, what's left of NITEL today? In 2015, after years of failed privatization attempts, NITEL and its mobile arm, EMTEL, were finally sold to a private company, NatCom, which rebranded it as NTEL. But let's be honest, NTEL is a shadow of the original vision. It exists, yes, but it never reached the heights it was supposed to. And that leaves us with the big question: what can we learn from the rise and fall of NITEL? First, monopoly breeds complacency. When you're the only player, it's easy to relax. But the world doesn't wait. Technology moves fast, and if you don't keep up, you'll be left behind. Second, corruption kills trust. Nigerians didn't just hate NITEL because it was slow. They hated it because it felt unfair. People had to pay under the table just to get basic services. Once that trust was broken, it never recovered. And third, giants can fall. No matter how big, how powerful, or how dominant, if a company or even a person stops growing, the world will pass them by. NITEL's story is like a cautionary tale, a reminder carved into Nigeria's history. A giant that could have led Africa's telecom revolution ended up being forgotten, while new players built empires on its ashes. So the next time you make a quick phone call, send a WhatsApp message, or stream a video on your mobile data, remember this. Once upon a time, in Nigeria, talking to someone on the phone was a privilege reserved for the few. And the company that controlled that privilege, it fell, not because the dream was impossible, but because it refused to evolve. The rise and fall of NITEL isn't just a telecom story. It's a lesson about power, change, and the cost of standing still.